talk to them, but I have felt how, whatever circumstances we're in, it's so good to reach out to someone at any time who
Yeah.
others might assume you're on the other side from.
Yeah.
How that helps us, even if we never felt on the other side. Like I was raised by my Palestinian father to
Yeah.
feel that Jewish people were my brothers and sisters. And
Amen.
he had grown up in a Jerusalem which honored that principle. You know,
Yes.
his own friends, his own neighbors were a mixture of Jews, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, Orthodox, Armenians, Greeks, everybody.
Yes.
And yeah, there's such a mixture. And that was a joy to him.
Yeah.
He was never in the United States just saying, "Oh, let me go see how many Palestinians I can find here." He
Right.
was saying, "Let me meet everybody. I want to know people," and
Yeah.
that has always been kind of my code in life. Is
Yeah.
you're looking for people to get to know, not people who match you.
Yeah.
And I think there's also this craving for matching with monologue.
What's such a, I mean, he was such a curious being, right? And he
Right.
was able to relate across difference. As you were sharing those words about dialogue, I thought of, there's a reason why, many people say in the church, God gave us two ears and one mouth,
Oh,
right?
nice. Yeah,
So like dialogue takes those ears and
yeah.
then communicates, whereas monologues are just driven by
Right.
the ego.
Yes.
Um,
Something you said earlier too about how to penetrate bias, sometimes all we need to do is we don't have to tell ourselves, "Oh, I've been wrong, so wrong all this time." Just pause and
yeah,
notice and listen. And
yeah,
if we notice and listen, things change. In the past many years of my life, I have met so many people who went to Palestine, Israel on all kinds of trips, whether just as tourists or as holy pilgrims or on archaeological digs or all kinds of journeys. And so often they come back and say, well, I thought I didn't feel comfortable, especially like if they're Jewish people who are going to be in Israel. I thought I wasn't going to feel comfortable going to an Arab sector. But then I had this driver who was so hospitable and he took me everywhere and we became the best friends of my whole trip. And
yeah.
often their whole perspective of Palestine and Israel will change because they rode around with one guy,
One person,
one
yes.
and
Yeah.
and same in Texas. I've been in the position to host. I can think of three specific people within the last month who are very creative, culturally oriented people in the
Yeah.
world of the arts, open minds, who came to Texas for the first time. And they all had the same commentaries.
Yeah.
Number one, I had no idea it was so beautiful. I had no idea there were such cross cultural currents everywhere you look.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea people here would be so nice. Every one of them has had this litany of discoveries they made in Texas. And
Yeah.
I was very happy to send them on their way with, all their new good thoughts. But that's what happens when people would go to Palestine and Israel too. And often people would come back saying, and wait a minute, there is so much injustice there. And then I
Yeah.
would turn them toward, Jimmy Carter's book about apartheid. And
Yeah.
and I would remember the astonishing bias that he experienced after that book came out. All the places that tried to
Yeah.
cancel his book signings. And, I'm so grateful to the filmmaker Jonathan Demme for making that film, Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter, the Man from Plains, which documented very, very specifically and graphically
Yeah.
everything President Carter went through
Yeah.
simply by standing up for justice.
It's so true. And you spoke about this, what bias does is that it creates this us versus them.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, like, when I think of Rumi, he has this thing that beyond rights and wrongs,
Oh my
there's
God.
a field and I'll
Oh,
meet you there.
that's my favorite
Because
line. Yeah,
there is no them. It's
no,
just us.
yeah,
We're just all human, right? So
yeah,
beyond these divides of, Israelis and Palestinians and
yeah,
all the other divisions within, it's just us, you
Yeah,
know.
and of course there have been so many people who have beautiful initiatives, Anu, that try to live out that reality.
Yes.
From the Nevi Shalom, Wahat al Salam village in
Yes.
Israel to the Seeds of Peace group for teenagers
Yeah.
that's been going on for years, to the East West Orchestra that was founded by Daniel Barenboim and Dr.
Yeah.
Edward Said, and all the hand in hand schools in Jerusalem,
Yeah.
I believe founded by a Jewish American.
Hmm.
Just these amazing cross cultural connecting initiatives. And
Yeah.
I feel as if all of those great works, those endeavors, get betrayed uh, by war, by this war that's
My
been
word,
going.
yeah.
And when the United States is so unimaginative to just say, okay, well, we wish for peace, but we're going to keep sending bombs.
Yeah.
That's not working. It doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
8 years old, my grandson can see that doesn't work.